Hi guys. I'm sorry I'm late. I hope you guys have shown up. Um, I had issues, which is why I didn't come on right away, and I'm still working them out. So I had to show up, but for some reason, my demo website is blowing me off. So that's why I'm sitting here. I worked on this whole week, and now all of a sudden it's acting like it doesn't exist. So this is the world. It's being refused, and I don't know why. Anyway, today, my name is Kathy Servetka. I'm with VoiceOver Web Design, and I was going to show you, and I still am. I'm just going to not be able to have the same kind of demonstration that I wanted to, because I had set up like a mock VoiceOver website so you could see what I had. I put a player in there and everything, and it's just not letting me in. I can get into my hosting for it, and it says everything's fine, but I cannot access it. So that makes me an unhappy camper by a lot. Seriously, it was on there last night, and now today, nothing. So rather than make you guys wait anymore, I'm going to log into my VoiceOver web design site, and that way I can at least show you some things in there. It's not going to be the same. I wanted to kind of, make you feel at home with a VoiceOver site, but, you got to roll with the changes, roll with the punches, or whatever the saying goes. Let's see. I'm going to log in before I start sharing with you. It'd be nice if my password was saved. I usually don't like to save my passwords onto the computer because I'm just that paranoid, but at this point, I would take it. I'm still logged in. Okay. Okay, guys. Well, we're going to work on my website. I just spent hours on that other one, so that stinks. I'm going to have to contact some people and find out what's going on. I look a little bedraggled, and I think I am a little stressed when that happens right before you go live. That's the fun of live TV, right? So we're here to learn about the 8, I called them qualities because, I really didn't know what else to call them. I didn't want to say 8 things. I'm even looking for my notes. You guys must think I was actually so on top of everything. I think it was so on top of everything that I ended up losing what I had. And I just had those notes here, and now I can't find them because I was whipping through everything else. Okay, this is called completely fly by the seat of your pants. And I can do this because I teach at a local college, and stuff like this happens all the time. When you're working with technology, it's always something, I swear. You could be, I've been doing this for years, and now what? I can't even get on my website. My notes are off. But I know what we're covering. So the elements that I'm going to talk about as far as what you really must have on your website for best optimization for the search engines is going to be true no matter where your website is, except for one thing toward the end that I'm going to talk about, a plugin specifically to WordPress. But everything else is absolutely true and has been. Most of it has been for a long time. They've just kind of adjusted, and by they I mean Google, because Google drives this whole thing. We used to have, and there still are, tons of search engines out there, but the top ones are Google, Bing, Yahoo, and Ask. Those are the top 4, and there are still tons of others out there, but those guys have the market share for sure, and Google obviously having the most. So I am going to go ahead and share my screen with you. Please don't be afraid with what you see at first, because it's going to be my dashboard, and it's going to be way more than you're ever going to need to deal with. So sorry about that. Okay. All right. So that is my WordPress dashboard. It's got a lot of stuff on it, right? Let me go ahead and open my website. So for those of you who do work in WordPress, I just did a little tip right there. I just realized I forgot to shut the door to my heater. When you're in the WordPress dashboard, when you've logged in, and I like to have both the dashboard and my live website going at the same time so I can, flipping back and forth and see how things are going. If you mouse up in the top left and it says, your website name up there and then visit site, I right click on that and it opens up the actual website. Now you're still going to have the WordPress bar at the top, but you see your website so you get an idea of what's going on. Here's the information for today's webinar. Okay, so I'm going to turn all right. So I have a lot more in my left column than you will probably ever have because I have a ton of plugins going on. Now, you voiceovers won't need all of that. Most of the time, a voiceover can get away with one web page. I actually set up a website, the one that you're not going to see today. And I made a home page. For voiceovers, a home page is probably going to be more like their about page. If you didn't catch my webinar last week about pages, go to my YouTube channel. You should be able to find me under Kathy Servatka, and the about pages, it's called the about page. It's not all about you. And it will talk about sort of a flow, like an outline of how the about page should be written and laid out. And I would say for voiceovers, your home page really is your about page. You're going to put your demo at the very top of the screen, and the very top of your web page, your home page. And then the rest of the information in there can be about you based on what I taught you the about page should be like. So it's not just a litany of all of you. It's done in that special format to show the viewer that they're in the right place. Then I also created something of a bio page, but I gave it a different name, which I can't remember now, but essentially a bio page. If you do have a lot more information you want to put on your website than just that homepage with demos, maybe your career's been going on for a while, create a bio page, and then that's where you can do it like a resume, kind of lay it out. Don't do it in paragraph form per se, but list out your top clients, your top schools, your top training, your top coaches, all that kind of stuff in your bio page. And then if you have, and I probably would do this, a separate page for your studio. And then on that studio page, you would talk about, how great your studio is and why everything that comes out of there is so perfect. And then a contact page with just a repetition. You could even put a contact form in there. There's lots of plugins for that, make it real easy. If I go to my website here on my contact page, no, I didn't put a form, but I do have an email sign-up form. But the forms are super easy. In WordPress anyway, they're super easy to set up and get functioning. So I think I'm going to flip to my about page because that's going to be more close to your home page and more closely related to, what's this? Oh, I don't want to stop that. Closely related to what you would be dealing with on your home page. Okay, so what the heck are the items? Let's get to the point here. The first thing I wanted to talk about was a page title. When I say page title, I do not mean the headline of your page. I do not actually mean anything on the page here. So what does that mean? Title is actually an HTML term. It's where it comes from. So when somebody says for SEO or search engine optimization, they're talking about the title of your page. They're actually talking about the words that pop up when you mouse over your tab of your browser. Notice the text that pops up, that's called a tooltip. It says voiceover web design, all the skills and experience you need for your professional standout website. And then it kind of goes into a second section. I can't point to it without it disappearing. And I hope you can see this. It says I should check my phone. Sorry, I just want to check and make sure. After that last escapade with the PowerPoint not moving. Oh, it says voice. Did you hear me? It's delayed. Okay. Anyway, this is the title we're talking about. Now, they call it a title. There used to be a bar at the very top of all the browsers, and the title would actually show up at the top of the browser. It doesn't do that anymore. So because we've gone into this tab layout in browsers, you used to have all separate windows. But anyway, this is the title here. And you think, well, what's the big deal? Geez, nobody might even see that. But I will tell you, this is the #1 thing Google checks for. This title that you set up, and it should be different for every page. Okay, now you may have the repetition of your site title, like mine says, if you see toward the end here, keeps going right, voiceover web design by Kathy Servatka. So that's really the title of my site, but everything in front of it was really the title of my page. And that's the focus, because Google wants you to have one focus per page. So it is going to compare everything you put in that page against that title that you created. So where is that title created? Well, it depends on your theme, but usually the place to start is in Settings, General. And everybody will have this Settings menu item in their WordPress. And you go to General, the site title, Voiceover Web Design by Kathy Servatka. So that sounds familiar, right? So what this theme is doing is tacking this on at the end of every page. Okay, and sometimes this tagline will get used. It depends on your theme. So just make sure you put something in there that makes sense for the site in case the theme does use it. I don't think my theme is using this, but it is using this title in the tabs, on the tabs as you mouse over. And notice you can see it on other things as you mouse over. You can start to pay attention to this kind of thing. Actually, it's still paying attention to my current page. Oh, here, the Google page, it's working. So you can start to see and pay attention to these titles. The wording is very important in them. You don't want them to be too long, obviously, because it's that tooltip popping up, but you just want them to have those keywords. So the site title, that's something you want to be general for the whole site. My website is Voiceover Web Design, and I want my name in it, Kathy Servatka. So that's why I did it that way. I would suggest for voiceovers that you put your name first, your first and last name, and then the words voiceover. And I suggest voiceover in 2 words. I know nobody's really decided whether it should be 1 or 2 words, and you see it both ways, but the majority of the time it's 2 words. So if you want to put it in there in 2 ways, I guess you could. It might be awkward looking though. So voiceover web design, my name. So yours would be your name, voiceover. Those are the words you really want to be found by. You're not going to get found by just voiceover. There's no way. There's too many people out there. And I'll tell you, if you just search voiceover, you're probably going to come up with a page results of Voices 123 or Voice 123, voices.com. They kind of have that locked up. So you're going to get found by your name and the words voiceover. So that's what your focus needs to be. So that's the title. That's what I'm talking about. A number one of the top thing Google looks at. And again, it'll be different for each page. So how is it? It's going to actually, like here, it took the title of, I'm sorry, I got to watch my language. It took the headline of my page, voiceover web design, all the skills and experience you need for your professional standout website, and applied it to the beginning of the title. You can see it there. Voiceover web design, all the skills and experience you need. So it's taking the page headline and then tacking it with the site title. So that's going to actually all together become your page title, and that's what Google's going to see. So in this particular case, it is using the page headline. And so your page headlines, and I talked about this in my webinar, the About webinar, those headlines are important. And you have to think about the topic of the page, and you've got to really finesse that wording. It's got to have your key phrase in it somehow, if it makes sense, and tell the reader why they're in the right place. And you can go to that whole webinar and learn about that. So along with that goes this title. Sorry, it is a title, but we're going to call it a headline, page headline. Okay. The page headline sometimes is looked at separately, and actually Google will look at it separately. Yes, you have it up here because the theme put it in there. Google only sees that as code. It sees this as the title of the page. Then it also is going to look at this, and guess what? They're going to match. So that's great. The way my theme does it, it actually has it in both places. That text matches. Google loves that. So that says, hey, you're really writing about what you say you're writing about. So what's the big deal about the page headline? Let's go take a look. I'm going to go into this page, which is my About page. Not About webinar. Let me see. It's going to go by the title. Voiceover. How many times have I said this now? Voiceover web design, all the skills and experience. Here we go. And you got my goofy picture there. By the way, I'm a big fan of photos. And I know voiceovers are afraid of them. They don't like them. You know, they're scared they're going to get typecast and blah, blah, blah. But I still think you should have photos. But I strongly suggest, if you do, that they are professionally shot. Photos today are not the typical headshot, sit in front of a screen, you know, and it's your senior class picture. They have you going out, you know, I'm thinking of people, they're leaning against brick walls in the regular clothes and their personalities coming through. You know, there's just so many things you can do with a photo today that's not just, you know, a headshot of you in the studio. So I just want to put that out there. I'm a fan of that. Mine is obviously not, well, you could say it's not professionally done. I really didn't take time with it, but my college degree is in photography, so put those two together. But I do want to have somebody else do my shots and really just like step outside of my brain and do them. Anyway, here we are in the editing area for that About page. And look, here's the headline for the page. Okay. This is, I should get a zap every time I say the word okay. This is called heading level 1. And now you don't need to know a whole lot about heading level 1, except for the fact that in your web page, as you're creating the page, I want you to pay attention to this box here as I click around. And I made that heading level 1. Oh, see, I think my theme is weird. I'm doing something really quick. That's a problem, girl. That is definitely a problem. I've got 2 heading level 1s, and that is so wrong. And I think it was because, I don't know what it was because. I wonder if I just did that by accident. Never use this. When you're formatting, I want to tell you, what you see here in your editor is not what's going to be shown on your web page, as you can see, because your theme and styling are going to do all the layout for you. So what you see here is definitely different than what you see here. So don't just go by, oh, I want this text bigger, and the heading level 1's going to give that to me because you see it being bigger here. Well, it will make it bigger, but it's also going to screw up your SEO. You only want one H1 per page. You need the one, you must have one, and only one, heading level 1. And 99.9% of the time, your theme is going to make this page title your heading level 1. So down here, never use it. Don't ever use the heading level 1. Heading level 2s are great. And so what am I talking about here? Well, here, if you're just typing paragraph information, it's just going to default and become paragraph. But what if for some reason I had put this in here and I decided I wanted it to be a heading level 3? I could just click in there and all of a sudden you see that it's changed its appearance a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and update that so you can see I can go back and fix my page. I could have done preview changes as well, which probably would have made more sense. But now if I go in and refresh, you can see why I have both pages open at the same time. It enlarged it and set it up based on the styling I have for heading level 2. But that doesn't make sense there. But you get the idea. You can just click anywhere, and you can click just within the paragraph or within the line, and you can change the formatting of that particular block of text. So when I click on Do You Wonder, notice how it shows me it's a heading level 2. And then if I click on Talk with an Expert, it shows me it's a heading level 3, and so on. This is a heading level 2, this sign up for free stuff. So heading level 1, one and only one per page, and it, depending on your theme, it will be the title or the headline of your page. Okay, so to summarize, the title of the page, which is what your theme is going to throw together and that you see when you mouse over the tab, and then the headline of your page. Those are the first two items that are very key. Notice again, in my headline, I've got voiceover web design. I don't have my name in there, but I do have voiceover web design because that's really how I want to get found. I do put my name in a lot of places because I like my name being associated with it because it is my brand. So I didn't put it here, even though it's about, because it's about voiceover web design. It's not necessarily about me, although I do talk about me. Again, go to that other webinar for more information. Heading level 2s. Google likes heading level 2s. Not as important as a heading level 1 or the tag, but they do like heading level 2s. Now, this is not used in the way I would suggest for you guys. Heading level 2, you still would like to have your key phrase. And again, for you, your key phrase that you want to be searched by is your first and last name and the words voiceover. Now, if you have your first and last name up here, and then you put your first and last name here, and you got voiceover and voiceover, that doesn't read well. So you want to word them differently. If you're going to do that, I will tell you it will give you better results in the search engine, but I will also tell you, as a human reading that, it looks like you might have been aiming to get found in the search engine. So there's a little give and take as far as making it something that reads nicely for the viewer, but also that Google likes. So you can have several H2s, heading level 2s, throughout your page. There's subheadings. Think about that outline we did in college or high school where you had like the highest levels, usually Roman numeral 1, and then you got into subcategories. So maybe capital A, and that, you know what I'm talking about, hopefully. So that's kind of the concept between these. Heading level 1, you have all the way through 6. Don't worry about this one. You'll never use these. maybe a 4, but don't ever use these except to style them to have other kinds of functionality. But the heading level 1's up there, heading level 2 throughout the page, at least one of those, at least one heading level 2, I think. And then you can have more than one. And of course, heading level 3s. That's probably as far as you'll go. Okay, so we've gone through 3 of them. All right, here's the hard part, I think, is the hardest part, is that your content, your actual page content, did I save my changes so I went back? Let me make sure I did that. Your actual page content must focus on the thing that you have put as your page headline, as your page title. It needs to be about that. If you start needing to put so much information that you feel like you could split it into 2 pages, then do so. I don't think as a voiceover that'll be an issue. But refresh. Okay, back to normal. So what do I have here? I've got heading level 1, now heading level 2. These are just bullet items. Remember, I talked about in the last webinar the power of 3. So these are just paragraph. And then this is heading level 2. Again, talk with an expert. This is not something these H2s are not really very searchable, are they? Which is why I'm constantly going in to finesse my pages. But your beginning of your content is super important. The whole content is important, but it's going to look at the beginning stuff. It's going to look, here's my name. This is my parent company. But here in the first sentence is voiceover web design. So I've got voiceover web design and Kathy Servatka because this is my about page. So I can say my name and I'd like it to be searched by that too. But voiceover web design being my main thrust. So my about page, believe it or not, follows for the most part what I talked about last week. I've got some testimonials we call social proof, calls to action, that kind of thing. That does not help with search engine optimization. That helps with your viewer. So we want to separate those two. Another myth that I want to talk about, just popped in my head, is Google Analytics. People think setting up analytics helps your search engine optimization, and it doesn't. All it does is give you information about what's going on with your website, who's coming in, how many viewers are you getting, and where are they coming from. It gives you a lot of great information. I strongly suggest you have it. You just have to have a Google setup. I hate saying the word Google. Let me drink because it's a hard word for me. And I say it a lot. You'd think I'd get better at it. Google. You just need to sign up and create a Google account. Even if you don't want to do the Gmail thing, you don't have to. But once you set up a Google account, that's connected to creating a YouTube account. So if you have a YouTube account, you already have a Google account because they're together, their own. Google owns YouTube now. And then once you have a Google account, you can just do a search for Google Analytics, and it will lead you into the analytics area where you can sign up and create your account. Kind of looks at it, it's like another thing like YouTube or Google Plus. Analytics is sort of a separate thing. But anyway, great to have, but does no effect on your search engine optimization. All right. Ooh, a photograph. There's another thing. Oh, but I put it in. I'm going to insert a photo because this is in my feature. It should still be okay. Let me go check this. When you bring in, yeah, I have a ton of images. Yes. When you want to insert an image, you would do that from, I'm going to close out of here again. This button at the top. If you click where you want the image to come in, you're going to do add media, and that's going to bring you into this area here. And if you need to upload the photo, you would just click on upload and bring it up. Once you bring it up in, it would show up in your library, and you can go through and select it. This one's actually farther down. I've got several things going on. Here's one of those senior headshots. I like this one when it came out, but it doesn't look like me anymore. I've got longer hair, and you know, the trend has changed as how they do photos. Here's the photo. It's got the little check mark. That's the one that I used as my feature image. And my feature image for this theme actually shows up in my webpage. So here's what's important. Alt text. When you use any graphic, anything you bring up here, except for PDFs, anything you bring up into your media library, you want to select it and add alt text. Now, alt text originally was set up for people with visual impairment because they have readers that actually go through and read that alt text. So when you have a photo and you have alt text, the alt text should be descriptive of what the photo is. In this case, it's me, Kathy Servatka. So my alt text says Kathy Servatka. But the benefit too is that I want to be found by Kathy Servatka. I could actually put Kathy Servatka voiceover web design, and that works just as well too. The title, which doesn't seem to have any effect anymore. I've been checking around. It used to be, excuse me, like a tooltip. So when you were in the browser and you moused over the image, you would get that look like we have with the tabs, how you get a little text that pops up. You used to get a little text that would pop up there, and that's what the title would be. So you could kind of use that as information for the viewer. But browsers don't seem to be doing that anymore. This has no effect, really. I say really because I think everything in your page has an effect, but Google will tell you title has no effect on search engine optimization. I put it in there anyway. Whatever, you can do whatever you want. However, alt text, always, always, every image you put in your website, you want to have alt text, and you can do it all from here. As I click on, these are all from my portfolio. So it's Servatka Creative Service done under a different name. Headlines, you notice that the alt text is changing based on whatever I have here. So that alt text is important for search engine optimization. Okay, so these are not, here's what it would look like when you first upload it. I didn't end up using this image, so I didn't bother with filling out the fields here. So that's okay because it's not even being used. But if I decided I were to use this one particular image, I would fill in the alt text. And then when I say, you know, insert it or set as featured image, it would come with that. So whenever you have an image, you definitely want to have that alt text. So that's what we're talking about here. Definitely do that. It's a huge one. All right. I should be writing these down because I've lost my checklist, and I said you were going to get 8 things, and now I'm just wondering. Yeah, it makes me so mad. You see me flip around here a little bit. Boo, 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 boo. I have gone crazy. Yeah. All right, I just want to make sure I'm giving you 8. So to recap, the page title, the page headline, heading level 2s, the text in the body of the page, especially the first paragraph, images with the alt text, hugely important. That's another biggie. That one could probably go right up there with the title. So we're up to 5. I'm going to be going out of order here because I'm trying to remember what the heck I've done. Okay, this one is not This is specific to WordPress. So if you have a regular HTML website or you have a website on Wix or Weebly, it's not going to pertain to you because it's a plugin specific to WordPress. The plugin is called SEO by Yoast, or Yoast SEO. Yoast is the guy who created it. YOAST. If you just do a Google search for that name with SEO next to it, you'll find it, or you can search in the plugins library. This is the #1 plugin for search engine optimization that you can add to your WordPress website. So I already have it added. This is what the icon will look like. It adds it to your main menu. And I'll just step through some of this. This does not, in and of itself, improve your search engine optimization, but it's working. What it does is tell you where you need to improve. And it inserts things that you may not have thought to insert. And it does it very easily so that you don't have to dig into code. It does the work for you. So that's pretty sweet. All right, so there's several different menu items, and in each menu item, there's different tabs. Now, this could go on. You could do a lot of stuff here. I'm not going to take you through everything because it's too in-depth. In the general area, the only thing I would say is just go into the company info. It's pulled my site title from the settings. Alternate name, I just put my name in there, and I said that it's a company, and this is my parent company name. You could insert an image and do some other things. Webmaster Tools has to do, if you do set up Google Analytics, you can put that here, but you don't have to worry about that. So the only thing in general is just setting up your company info. Titles and metas. All right, so we start out in general. The only thing you're going to worry about here is I like to change the separator. So the separator, look at the, when I mouse over the tab, remember how I said it takes the page headline, and then there's a little character, which is this right here, and then it goes into the site title, Voiceover Web Design by Kathy. I can't point to it because my mouse will turn it off, but you can see the little double arrows right there. That you can set here. Actually, I think I kind of like something more like that. Changed my mind on that one, but it gives you all these little things because it knows that that's how the theme is going to work. It's going to take the site title and it's going to put the page headline in there and make that the whole title. So now I'll have to probably reload. Always reload. By the way, refreshing the page when you're working on a website, you could just click the refresh in your browser, or you could hit the F5 key. F5 does a complete refresh, clearing out the cache of your computer for the most part. Some of these browsers hang on to it like crazy. Anyway, I just refreshed it so we could see the new character now. See, I can't point to it, but I now have that. It's probably an M dash because it's a wider dash. I like that better. So now I've got that. The other things you don't need to worry about, much more in-depth stuff and more involved if you are doing a blog. So that's really all you're doing with titles and metas is just setting up your separator. Social, which obviously means social media. You start out with the accounts. I would definitely put in all the URLs to any social media accounts you have in here. It helps set up that connection. The ones that are most helpful to you in search engines, Facebook is highly optimized. So Facebook URL, having the page itself, the Facebook page optimized, and then having it connecting back and forth between your website and it, is very favorable. That's going to help you get better rank. And Google Plus, Google obviously is going to like Google Plus. It's funny that they listed here at the bottom, but it is actually a big booster for you. So even if you don't use Google Plus, although I think you could and should, setting up an account for Google Plus is very helpful to you getting found because Google favors it. So put in all the URLs of all the different social media that you may have. I would not bother with MySpace anymore. And some of these are not for everyone. But Facebook, I think is good for everyone. A Facebook business page and a Google Plus page. And maybe if you have demo videos, you'll have a YouTube page. And some of the other stuff, LinkedIn, I think everybody could have a LinkedIn because it's really just kind of an online resume. But then what about these other tabs? Well, these other tabs I wouldn't worry about right off because they're specifically settings. When you insert, if you're in Facebook, picture yourself in Facebook, and you want to share an article you just read in the New York Times. So you highlight that web page address, you copy it to your clipboard, and then you go into your Facebook and you paste it into the comment window, and you'll see all of a sudden the image from that page pop up. That's what this is saying. Do you want to pick specifically what image is going to pop up in Facebook, or do you just want it to grab a main image from your home page? So it's going to make the choice for you. But if you put something in here, this image that you set up here is going to be the one that's going to show up. And same thing with Twitter, Pinterest, and Google+. You don't have to do this. Again, it's not necessarily helping with search engine optimization, but it is helping with the view your potential clients are going to see. XML sitemaps. Sitemaps are huge. Okay, we can count this as one. XML sitemaps. But this comes with the Yoast SEO plugin. I'm writing stuff down. What the heck is an XML sitemap? Oh my gosh, it's code and stuff. You Google, all the browsers love the XML sitemaps because it speaks their language, it's code, and when it a spider from, which is a program essentially, comes from Google or Bing, it's going to look for that XML sitemap and eat it up. It just loves it. You do not have to make this yourself. We used to have to do them ourselves. Now you've got this lovely plugin, Yoast SEO, that's doing it. As soon as you install and activate the plugin, your XML sitemap has been created. And essentially, it's a programmy version of every page in your website. And I suggest, even if you have a single page website, that you would still use this plugin, and that XML sitemap is still going to help you, even with that one page. So it's basically already done it. You don't even have to do anything here. Don't worry about any of this stuff. Now, there's something else called a user sitemap. No, we don't care about that. It's a different thing. Yeah, just the XML sitemap here. That's all. You don't even have to go there. I just wanted to tell you about it. This is XML sitemap. This is another thing. There's an XML sitemap, and there's something else called an HTML sitemap. These listings of web pages are so important. So, like I said, Yoast is sticking one of them in there for you, the hard one. All right. I don't think that we need any of these other things. I'm going to just click on advanced. Oh, this is what I wanted to show you before. Permalinks. I'm giving you actually more than 8 when I think about it, because permalinks, you don't know what that is. And I wanted to demonstrate to you in the other website that I had created, but since we can't get into that, let me just try one more time. Hey, now you're seeing my, this is the website, right? Cervecademos.com. I don't know. I must have blown something up right before I left to go to bed. But it's not showing up. Refused to connect. It's almost like it doesn't like my computer. Well, I don't refuse to look at you too. Permalinks. If you do not do anything with permalinks, and I'm going to show you what that is in a minute, maybe you've gone to web pages and rather than seeing something that we understand like the word about, I'm on the about page and it shows about, which is what I've told it to show. It's going to show some code looking stuff, maybe a question mark, ID equals 41, you know, something that's not human. It's not something humans can look at and go, oh yeah, that's the about page. It's number 41. So permalinks actually make this happen. And that's what Yoast, if you don't have that set, it would give you a red box here saying you have not set your permalinks. Let's go and do that. So that's the only thing I would worry about here is just checking in this and making sure your permalinks are set. Here's where you set them in the settings. So we're done with Yoast. Do not worry about these other items. I've really covered everything you need to worry about. There wasn't a whole lot to set up, right? Go into settings and to permalinks. Permalinks are just the official link for the page. Now, normally, this is what I'm talking about. Normally, this is what would come up if we didn't do anything. Question mark P equals 123 or whatever number, and every page has a different number. That's not, it's not search engine friendly, and it's not viewer friendly. So I select post name, and that is what gives me, and here's the example, it shows you, if you pick this, this is what it's going to show. The year, you know, I wouldn't use this, so better for blog posts and that kind of thing. But for web pages, post name is really the best because it just gives you the full URL, or when I say URL, I mean website, the full URL, web address, and then the page name, like this. This helps with search engine optimization. I would say about is not exactly very exciting, and I probably should say, I don't want to say about voice over web design. It's kind of long, but I might change that because it is helpful in the search engines. It looks at the name of the pages. It pays attention to those permalinks. So making those page names something useful. And if you have more than one word, they need to have dashes in them, and I think that'll happen automatically. You never have spaces in anything. So that's the permalinks. Oh, so what else does Yoast do? It has one other thing I have to show you. I'm going to go to the About page again. So I'm going back into my pages, and I'm going to go to my, not About Webinar, but my, this is what I've determined is my About page. So we've talked about everything in here, the headline, the heading level 2, the paragraphs, content, that kind of thing. Scroll down. There's some other stuff that's showing up because I have other kinds of theme issues and plugins and stuff. But here's what Yoast does. On every single page, you'll find this at the bottom of your page. And I don't think I'd worry about these other items, but the first item, the little headlight here, you want that to be green. Look at mine isn't. The one I set up for the demo is. You also get a little stoplight looking thing here, red, yellow, and green. And green is the goal. Yellow isn't so bad, and red is not so good. So it tells you, look, I haven't even put a focus keyword in. So right there, it's got a problem. Now, this is not the same as meta keywords. When you put a focus keyword in, you're just telling Yoast, this is what I want this page to be found by. Assess my page based on the search phrase I want to be found by. So if I just do voice over web design, all of a sudden some other things pop in because now it has assessed the page based on this is what I think people would search by to land on this page. If I want to add more and say about Kathy Cervatka, that's a bit much. You could say about, but then it's going to start looking for this phrase everywhere. You want a phrase that you're actually going to use throughout the page. So if I say my focus keyword, now I've got to go back and look through everything I just wrote and make sure it works to my advantage, because it's telling me right now a lot of stuff is not working to my advantage. So if I say I want to be found by voice over web design, and on this page maybe I would say rather than that, well, no, voice over web design. I have voice over web design in the headline. This really should have voice over web design in it as well. And if not this one, the next one. But they don't. And I think I made that decision based on the fact that, see, right now I'm orange. Orange isn't horrible. I wanted the text to be more enticing and not so SEO oriented, but I could finesse that to work voice over web design in there. The problem is I've got voice over web design here. And then if this starts out voice over web design, that's just a little awkward, I think, unless you don't start with the term voice over web design. So you can see it's a balancing act. The whole thing is a balancing act. But it's showing you here, what is this? This is essentially what it's going to show in the search engine results. If somebody searches voice over web design for this page, they're going to get the page name, they're going to get the URL, and then they're just going to pull some text. Now, what is this? What's going on here? That's short code. This list that I created is actually created because of some code that came with my theme. That is not optimized. So with these little pencils, you can go in and type in. And honestly, if you find toward the top a good paragraph that explains, you know, it's probably just a sentence because it doesn't allow for very many characters. I'm actually going to duplicate this and say, take that first sentence, scroll back down here, and I'm going to put that in, except not, I don't think the bolding matters. It doesn't. I replaced what it auto came up with. That auto text that was there is what Google will do. It'll just grab the first lines of text that it sees. And that's almost always not a good thing. This does not help with search engine optimization, these text results. It's super important to your viewer. This is when they do a search result and this is what they see, this whole chunk here. They determine whether they're even going to bother to click to go to your website. So this text is viewer optimization, really. I'm Kathy Cervatka, founder of Cervatka Creative Services and creator of Voice over Web Design. Could be better, but it's good that it's repetitive from the content, which helps usually. So let's look at what Yoast is telling me. You don't have my focus keyword in any subheading and given the H2. So if I did that, it would give me a green light for that. A meta description has been specified but does not contain the focus keyword, which is voice over web design. It does contain it, but it is at the end of the sentence. And I wonder if it would like it better if it was at the front. So I would probably play with that. The focus keyword doesn't appear in the first paragraph. So you can see where it's going. What it is trying to tell me is everything that Google is looking for. The problem is if you do exactly what it says and you're not careful, you're just going to look like a robot wrote it. And you don't want that for your viewers. So again, that balancing act. I don't worry about things like the keyword density, the number of let's see, they usually talk about the number of words. I have enough words here, but a lot of times it'll say you don't have enough words. You need to have a good amount of text. Google likes that. We're talking about everything Google likes. Who are they? They're rulers of the world is what they are. So you can go through and clean up your act a little bit and find the things that you can change. The focus keyword for this page contains one or more stop words. It considers the word over as a stop word, meaning that voice, it might return the word voice, but then look at over as kind of like an unimportant word. But it's not a stop word. It is an important word. So that's just their suggestion. So I'm not going to worry about that. And some other things. So just want to give you that. And you have one of these sections on every single web page. So each web page individually optimized is going to be great. Don't have anything less than orange. Green is better. Of course, green means you are optimized. You are good to go. The last thing, I know I'm running over noon my time, Central Time, because I started a little late. So thank you if you're still with me. If you have to go, of course, you can go to my YouTube channel. Just search Kathy Servatka and click on my channel and you'll see this video will automatically be there. The last big thing, submit your URL to the search engines. How the heck do we do that? Easy. It's so easy. I'm going to do Google. I'm actually typing Google into Google. Submit URL. You could say web address, but URL is better. Google submit URL. No. And look, you can tell I've been here a few times. Submit URL Google. Look at how easy this is. Now you just go to your page, click in there. You want the entire thing, not just voiceover web design. This is actually, you can't see it, but it's grabbing that HTTP that's in the beginning that they don't show anymore. So just triple click in here or click and highlight the whole thing, Control C or Command C to copy it to the clipboard. Oops, by the way, don't do your about page. I almost just did that. When you're submitting your web address to the search engines, you want your main home page. So again, copy that. I'm going to put that in the URL. Here's that http://. That is actually on the beginning of every web address, and they used to show it here, but now they don't. Makes it harder to teach. But when I highlighted it, it still grabbed it because you need all that to go with it. So I'm submitting this to Google to speed up its access and say, hey, it's kind of like a tap on the shoulder. Come check this out. Click here to say that you're not a robot because they have issues with that, and submit. Your request has been received and will be processed shortly. And that processing, of course, is done by algorithms and computer programs. There's not a human looking at it. So that helps you get in there faster, because what people don't understand is that even though you've optimized your website completely, if you don't do this submission, it could be a long time before you actually show up in the search engines. So you don't just appear there all of a sudden because you've done all this or because you have a website. You have to submit it. People have to go to it. You have to continue to edit it. Regular editing of your website also helps with search engine optimization, because it shows Google that the website is active and that somebody is managing it. It sees the timestamps on the files and recognizes something's new, and it will go back and crawl through that page again. So all this is good stuff. Now you want to do Bing. Gosh, I never use Bing, but people do. Bing, same thing. Bing submit URL. And you get the first thing. Bing submit your URL. So type the URL of your homepage. Well, I'm just going to paste it because I have it already. Again, includes the HTTP. And then for them, I hate these things. They want you to type this in. I'm guessing PS85D3. Even as a human, I have trouble getting that. And we'll see. It'll just tell you if you didn't get it right. I did. Yay. Great. And then it tries to sell you a bunch of stuff. Your request has been successfully submitted. So off you go. Those are the two biggies. There's some other ones you could submit to, but they would take more time to explain. Those are the two biggies though. And you can resubmit. Don't do it every day, but once a month you can resubmit your website and keep tapping them on the shoulder, keep drawing attention to your website. And that is going to get you well ranked. All right, I'm going to switch back now to me, I think. There I am. And, oh, you know what? I'm going to bring that up again because I do have Chatwing or Chat Tango, actually. Chat Tango going, and I see a couple people in there. Oh, shoot. I hope, Anan, I hope that you were able to stick around. Not able to get in either. You were probably able to, I started late, and if I don't, here's the thing with these webinars, if I don't start and you start at the right time and you don't see anything, you have to restart the page. When I do come in, you have to click, you know, the arrow to try again. And unfortunately, you would have just had to sit there and keep trying. So I apologize for being late and, you know, for kind of winging it, flying by the seat of my pants. It's just how it goes. But you actually got more than 8 qualities or things. I need a thesaurus. I need a better word than thing. But items, whatever, to get your web page, sorry, my camera moves, search engine optimized. That's called organic search engine optimization. So if you hear that term, that's what it is. And that is setting you up for success. Remember, for you voiceovers, it's really going to be your first and last name and voiceover. That's what you want to be found by. So, and if you, by the way, if you have a name like Jeff Smith, if you're in the union, they only allow one name. So there can't be 2 Jeff Smiths. But if you're not in SAG or AFTRA or whatever some of the other ones are, Jeff Smith would be really hard. Jeff Smith voiceover might be easier. I don't know of any Jeff Smiths in voiceover. But if you do have a more common name, you do have a little more of an uphill battle, but you can do it. And you keep paying attention to this stuff. You keep updating your website. You keep submitting to the search engines. You keep, like me, I'm looking at my about page. I'm going to go in and change it because I don't like some of the wording. So you keep doing that. You will find yourself climbing to the top. If you, even my name, if you do Kathy Servatka, if actually I'm lucky because Servatka is so unique. If you search Kathy Servatka, I've got like the first 2 pages of results. If you just do voiceover web design, I don't come up quite at the top yet, but that's my goal because there's been some people around longer than me that do a little bit of that. But mine is I solely am working with voiceovers. I know the business. And so that's why I think I'm going to get to the top. It's my goal. It's a challenge. Okay, you guys, thank you so much. And I'm sorry for everybody that I was late. That is not my style. I just had technical blow up right at the last minute. And honest to God, it's always something. When I teach in my classes, I always explain to the students, it's just, you guys work with computers, you know what it's like. It doesn't always go the way you want. So hopefully this was instructional to you. Thanks for sticking around. You can watch the replay at my YouTube channel, which again, if you just go into YouTube and search my name, Kathy Sirvatka, Sirvatka, you will find me. And you can watch all the videos there. So have a great weekend and good luck with your website. I'll see you again in 2 weeks. And I swear I'm going to have this. This is not going to happen again. All right. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.